Okay, so the other one we have is
IKITAN.
IKITAN, in all caps. So they have released a single track EP, um, which lasts 20 minutes and 20 seconds, and it's called 2020. It was also released in 2020, so it's quite clever, I suppose. So IKITAN are they describe themselves as a heavy post rock trio rather than just a post rock trio, and they are from Genoa in Italy. And I suppose it's something that's relatively common in post rock, is this is entirely instrumental, um, and it feels quite like a sort of extended jam session, which I think when you read some of the stuff the band have said, that's sort of the vibe that they're going for. So it's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes long, and as you'd imagine, over 20 minutes, there's a ton of variety. It's a single track, but there are probably points where you could almost split it into tracks. There's like it opens with this sort of oscillating keyboard sound before like reverberating, crooning, almost battling electric guitars come in, and there's a nice kind of trundling bass line behind those dueling guitars. At the sort of 2 minute mark, there's this big distorted riff comes in, just adding a nice touch of like hard rock and metal into the sort of more traditional kind of rock guitar, which I suppose is where they get the heavy side to this post rock description. Um, at times, there's a sort of shimmery shoegaze sound to the guitars, which sounds really great alongside the sort of thump of the drums and the rumble of the bass and the crunch of those chunky riffs. There's some great sections where the band just sort of noodle away with their guitars. Some really sort of awesome guitar hero moments. And like I said, throughout those 20 minutes, there are certain points where they take a sort of stylistic change, or a change of pace. So it makes for a really interesting listen.
I agree with you there, man. As you said, obviously it's a kind of mammoth 20 minutes and 20 seconds long, so you think it would probably be a pretty hard listen. Especially as you said, it's a purely instrumental piece. There's absolutely no vocals on it whatsoever. Um, but yeah, I would agree with you. I think there's enough kind of tonal, tempo, and stylistic changes throughout the course of the song to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you quite rightly said, it's there's elements where it does feel a wee bit shoegazy. There's a bit of kind of prog rock in there, thrash metal. I've also said that there's a bit of a kind of psychedelic kind of feel to it as well at times. Um, elements of kind of classic rock in there as well. My favourite bit in particular is kind of from the kind of 14-minute mark onward. I really enjoyed the kind of repetition of this kind of guitar riff that they use in that particular section, that really kind of punchy bass line. But the bass is on point throughout the course of the song, as are the guitars. I mean, the whole thing is. It's excellently polished and produced. It's a really impressive piece of work. Um, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what the guys come out with next.
That bit you mentioned around the 14-minute mark reminds me quite a bit of Alice in Chains. The bass reminds me in particular of Man in the Box. And like that really drilling guitar riff is definitely one of the coolest parts of the song. Like you said, there's classic rock. I mean, sort of 8.5 minute mark, there's something that could be straight out of a Black Sabbath song.
Yeah,
Then that's where it sort of then goes on to this more sort of cosmic psych rock sound. So there's definitely um, loads of variety, and like you said, I think it changes regularly enough to keep you engaged, and you don't sort of get bored with it. As soon as like a bit might be ready to overstay its welcome, they move on to something else. So yeah, really interesting. And if you're a fan of guitar music and like rock and metal in particular, then this should be right up your street, really.
Yeah, I think there'd be plenty for you to sink your teeth into.
Definitely. And I mean, a 20-minute long track can be a bit daunting, but it's something you can just throw on in the background and go about your business and then keep coming back to every now and again. It works perfectly for that. You can just go away about your business and then you'll hear something else that draws you back in. So um yeah, really cool. And like you say, be interesting to see what IKITAN do next, whether they do, I mean, there's some sort of concept to this, with it being called 2020 and it being 20 minutes, 20 seconds long. I wondered if there would be something you could kind of listen to the themes and the tones of the music and be like, this is like 2020 playing out or something. But
Yeah, I kind of
there wasn't
expected that as well.
that. But
I don't know. I did read, like, I don't know if there's something in this. Maybe they'll kind of develop on it in future. But the album's artwork was created by a guy called Luca Marcenaro, and it's a kind of angry figure, kind of bursting out of the earth, um, and smashing stones either on his head or above his head. I'm not quite sure. And it said Ikitan is the god of the sound of stones. Um, but I couldn't find anything about Ikitan anywhere online, so I don't know if Ikitan's like a figure from, I don't know, Italian
like
mythology. I really don't know. Like, so I
that's
don't know this. I don't know the significance of that in relation. There might be no significance whatsoever, but as you said, with it being called 2020 and with it being 20 minutes and 20 seconds long, yeah, I did think there'd be some sort of theme there, and I'm sure there is. It's just I'm not intelligent enough to kind of pick up on that.
yeah, perhaps not. But yeah, as a just a sort of mixture of different styles of rock and metal. I thought this was really good. So I've given it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm 7 or 8 for me.
Cool. So we'll see what comes from Ikitan. Maybe they'll bring out an album or something in the near future. So yeah, that was 2020 by Ikitan.
It's not finished. It's finished.